One of my sons came to me the other day and said, "Dad, can we have an Australia Day party next Monday at our house?" I agreed, and now he's got 30 mates coming over for a barbecue and a swim in the pool. Pray for me. Turns out my 20-year-old son is not alone in wanting to celebrate Australia Day. He's part of an overwhelming majority. New polling from the Institute of Public Affairs shows support for keeping Australia Day on January 26 has jumped to 76%. That's up from 69% last year and 63% in 2024. And the popularity of Australia Day is highest among young people aged 18 to 24, amongst whom 89% said they were proud to be Australian. Joining me now to discuss is Indigenous activist and businessman Warren Mundine. Warren, surprised by this polling?
No, not surprised at all. You know, in fact, it's been a big shift. I know you're talking about your son. I've noticed that with my sons and and his mates. They come around, they're very proud of being Australians. They're very proud of that. They're very proud of celebrating Australia Day and that. So, look, these figures don't surprise me at all. And isn't it great at a time where after Bondi, all this social cohesion and that, we've got all these Australian kids out there, young people, all age people, all want to celebrate Australia. We've got to make it big this year.
So I guess the question becomes, this poll found that only 10% of Australians have a problem with January 26. Only 10%?
10%.
So why on earth is this a constant problem every year when it's such a tiny minority of people that have got a problem?
Well, they've got a big mouth. They make a lot of noise. They bang on the drums. And governments are stupid to listen to them because, you know, look what's happening. We need to bring our country together. I'll give you a good example. I was at a book launch, you know, one of Tony Abbott's book launch, and a woman asked a question. She said, you know, my preschool kids come home, 2 young kids, you know, 4 or 5, and they said, "Where do we belong?" And she said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Oh, we had some teacher come into the school today and said, you don't belong here." And I'm sitting here, I said, you know what? You tell your kids, an Aboriginal person said, you belong here. They belong here. Yeah. This is the nonsense that's going on. We're all Australians, no matter whether you've been here 5 minutes or you've been here for 5,000 years or whatever. We're all here and we're building a beautiful, great nation.
So why does the Australian Research Council give $1.5 million of our money, this was just the other day, to a research project to investigate changing the date? I mean, we've got this poll showing that most of us are very happy with January 26, and yet government institutions keep throwing our money at projects to change it.
This is it. This is the whinging crowd. You know, the people who don't like Australia. And it's only a tiny little group of people, even that 10%, that, you know, you'd probably find some of them want to have a celebration on another day. So this tiny little group of people who are pushing this agenda, and governments are funding them to do these things. We should be funding about how we should, you know, how we should getting better education to our school systems, teaching kids that they do belong here. They should be proud of Australia. Learning about what our diggers and everyone did in the past to make this a better country.
So I was puzzled, just to stay with this theme, the National Australia Day Council. So as the name suggests, it's the job of the National Australia Day Council to promote Australia Day.
Yes.
But they've given taxpayer money to a Blue Mountains Aboriginal group who are going to run on January 26 what they're calling a survival day. How does the Australia Day Council giving money to an Indigenous group to run not an Australia Day event but a survival day event promote Australia Day?
This is the idiocy of the whole thing again. What that should have been sorted was to say, look, here, we've been in Australia so many thousand years, and look at this great nation that we're building. You know, we got rid of all the race laws in this country. We've got voting rights. We've got everyone working together. We're helping people get into jobs, education and land rights and all this type of stuff. And we're building this great country. We've got migrants coming here now. Let's celebrate, you know, our Indigenous heritage, but also celebrate that we're part of this fantastic, incredible country, which is probably the best country in the world, as long as we deal with some of these issues that we've got at the moment.
Yeah, and the weird thing about the Australia Day Council is on their website, they're promoting this survival day as Australia Day Family Fun Day. So that seems to be a little bit of false advertising.
I think so. Even the Blue Mountains group I was just reading too, they turned around and said, "Oh no, we've already told them it's a survival day." So I don't know what this game is they're playing.